Quarreling.
I hate y'all.
Anyway. We had another big fight at 140.
Great fight
for the Muhammad Ali Trophy.
Great fight.
Prograis and Taylor. I don't want to touch that yet. We can put a cap on that maybe at the end of this, because this weekend we're going into Kovalev and Canelo, a fight that I'm not going to be able to watch.
Why?
Because I'm going to a wedding. And
listen,
it's
like
a work.
You can watch it on your phone.
It's not one of those kind of weddings. It's so. Hopefully I can catch it Sunday morning. But I'm already gonna know what happens unless I just turn my phone off for 24 hours.
Do that. Do that.
I did something interesting yesterday. I talked to my buddy, and we were talking about what Kovalev fights you can watch to kind of give you an idea of what, Kovalev is most likely going to look like on Saturday night. And I watched Kovalev Ward 1, and not 2 for a reason. 2, that training camp was a disaster. He was a disaster. He brought in someone else. He still had John David Jackson there. It was a mess. But going into the first Ward fight, I think we truly saw who Kovalev was. He still was, the boogeyman. And, he had no issues in camp. And he looked good, until Andre figured out, let me get inside and work him over and rough him up and do some of those things that no one had ever really done to Kovalev. And a lot of it seemed to bother him. And this is where Ward started to pile up rounds and eventually win the fight, even though he got, dazed in the first round just from like a jab, a big jab. And then he got dropped in the second round. And he got battered around in that second round. No one's ever seen Ward like that. I mean, most people don't remember his first knockdown, but he was knocked down once before that. But his face was red and puffy. He got touched up. He got scuffed up until he actually won the fight. He figured out a way, and that's what champions do. So I watched that fight, and I watched his last fight against Anthony Yard. And my problem with Kovalev in that fight, and I'm not saying he's done, and a lot of people said he was done after the second Ward fight, and then he lost to Olivier Alvarez, and he gets his revenge, and then he fights Yard. In the 8th round, it was the 7th or 8th, one of those rounds, Kovalev was basically out on his feet. Number one, Yard. I think it was the 8th round. Yard figures out in the 7th round, I'm just going to throw a million body shots. He was getting to him, and in the 8th round, Kovalev was getting battered, and it looked like he could have went at any time. And he gets a second win, which surprised me. Especially like when you taste a couple of losses, you don't normally say, you know what, I can find a second win. I can find a way to win this fight. Usually when you taste that L, you're just like, you kind of accept it, right? And he didn't do that, which surprised me. And that's the only thing that surprised me between both fights. With Buddy McGirt, I noticed one thing. In the early rounds, he fought with his guard up more because, Kovalev's always got his hand down and he's jabbing and he's throwing his right hand from where you can't see it. And it's sneaky. And he's got a lot of accuracy and it's not slow. It's not fast, but it's not slow. So I used those 2 fights, but then when I noticed later in that fight with Yard that he still doesn't know how to keep anybody out of his kitchen. And Canelo will get it. Canelo's going to get in there. He will. And Canelo's got a good chin, and I know Kovalev's a big puncher, but it took him a long time and a lot of shots to hurt Anthony Yard. And I don't know. I think Kovalev is going to lose. I think he might do okay for a little while, but I don't think he's going to be able to figure out someone who's a better body puncher than Andre Ward, Anthony Yard, or anybody he's ever seen. This is going to be the best body puncher he's ever went up against. And Canelo's going to find his way inside, and he's just going to eat him up. I don't know if he knocks him out. It's possible. But I don't see Kovalev winning a fight. I really think he has no chance. I think people are giving him too much of a chance because of his size. I really don't think he has a chance. I think this is a well-picked opponent for Canelo.
Here's what I think.
You could phrase that any way you like.
Here's what I think about Kovalev. I think that if we were to consider a well-trained Kovalev, we would have to look at his fight with Bernard Hopkins. In that fight, I went to that fight. He was moving a lot. He was jabbing constantly. He was, showing angles and a lot of things.
5 years ago.
Exactly.
5 years ago.
I know that, but the thing is that he has the skills. He does have the skills. He's a very good boxer. He has power. He's, again, lifestyle. Lifestyle got in the way. And lack of training.
Definitely in the second Ford fight.
Sure. And so who's going to show up for this fight? That's what we need to first consider. Is it going to be a well-trained Kovalev that's listening to his
Canelo
trainer?
made sure he had no time to drink. His last fight was the end of August. He's fighting at the beginning of November. Well, he basically had a week off and got right back to training.
And even with his age, he still showed some good boxing skills in the yard fight. And had a relentless jab on this guy, and got caught. And people say, oh, after the Elider Alvarez fight, oh, he's done, whatever. That was just that was a shot that he took. That wasn't anything.
Yeah, he was winning that fight.
He wasn't getting beat up in that fight. It was just that
Elider Alvarez
landed, got a lucky punch in there. And
then Buddy McGirt did to him what he did with the Surrogati. He taught him how to box and not go and slug. Now, there were periods in the Yarde fight where he kind of, the old Kovalev came back and he was attacking too much and he's working with his hands down. But in the beginning of the fight, you could see some of the elements that Buddy McGirt tried to instill with Gotti and not go out there and just be a slugger and trade with everybody. He had his hands up.
I think,
and then in the middle of the fight, it's funny, you could see it when Kovalev wanted to attack. His hands went down, and he went back to the old Kovalev. And you could see it coming. And if I could see it, and you guys can see it, trust me, Canelo can see it.
I think Canelo's advantage and his, is that he has a lot of belief in himself. And he just goes in there and whether he's getting a gift or not or whatever, he believes, regardless of all that crap and bullshit happens, aside from his fights, he believes that he's better than his opponent. So I think that that's an advantage that he has. And this is something that maybe Kovalev doesn't feel at this moment in time in his career. Maybe he does have some heart issues that maybe we saw in the Ward fights. But you cannot put aside the size advantage, the weight advantage, and the power advantage that Kovalev may bring into this fight. This guy is a 175-pound fighter that may come in at 190, 185, 190. This is a guy.
And that's the only reason why I won't pick Canelo by knockout, because I just think he's going to be too big.
Not only that, but this is a guy that not only is fighting at a higher weight, but has power. He is known to have power and knock guys out. The power, like they say, the power is the last thing to go. And I think that it'll be competitive if Kovalev, comes in shape and has listened to his trainer.
Let me say this real quick, and this is, as reluctant as I am to really break down this fight due to personal reasons, we're just gonna keep this out here.
And we'll talk about these personal reasons in a minute.
Right. Kovalev has very good feet. Very good feet.
Very good feet for offense, not for defense.
But that's fine. The reason why I say that that's fine is because Canelo doesn't have good feet at all. At all. He is not fleet of foot defensively or offensively.
He showed us he was in the first Golovkin fight. He showed us he was.
Yeah, but
he showed us that he can move if he has to.
Then again, that's also Triple G, and I have my reservations about Triple G also.
Triple G and Kovalev are very similar. They're very basic. They're very fundamentally sound. They know how to cut the ring. They do basic things really well.
not below the waist. Like, look, if you look at Kovalev, man, he floats in there. His feet are excellent. Now, the thing is, you said that his feet are good for offense. Honestly, why, if you're thinking about it strategically, right? Why would Kovalev throw anything but a jab in this fight?
That's all. I mean, he could win the fight with his jab, but I just don't think
win the
he will.
fight with a jab. And the fight will start a la like Larry Holmes. Throw the jab out there, keep flicking it out there until you do something about it. Bam, comes the right hand, and then that's it. I don't know. You're talking about Canelo getting inside. Everybody who's gotten inside on Sergey Kovalev, Isaac Chilemba, Andre Ward twice, Anthony Yard, these dudes have had way better feet than Canelo Alvarez. Way better.
Really underestimating. I'm telling you right now, if someone as inexperienced as Anthony Yard can figure it out in the middle of the fight and hurt him, you don't think Canelo can?
Andre Ward was having trouble getting inside, man.
I think you got emails on the brain, bro. Serious.
Hey, you know what though? But that's fine. But look, Andre Ward had problem. Andre freaking Ward, my number one pound for pound fighter at the time, a gold medalist, a seasoned amateur and veteran at the time, was having trouble at points getting inside. That was
probably the end of the peak of Kovalev's career.
Wait, okay. Now
after that, he's never been the same. After that, he lost the award. You know, he had a couple of bum fights.
Now let's take this into account, okay? Andre Ward, there is no question and no doubt in my mind, yours, about Andre Ward's dedication to the sport and his application to the sport. I have never been like, Andre Ward has problems with conditioning. Andre Ward doesn't work hard in the gym. This dude, we knew he brought it. We knew he worked hard. We knew that he was dedicated. I still have questions of Canelo's stamina. I still have questions on a lot of stuff, man. Now you're adding almost 20 pounds of muscle because he's almost fighting 20 pounds north of where he's supposed to be. He's technically a 160-pound fighter, right?
I want to ask you guys about this, too. Where does Canelo come in on fight night? He's got to weigh in at 175 or under.
178, 180. See, that's where he comes in.
If I was him, I wouldn't be higher than 180. I would use my size and my speed because I think that's how he's going to be able to get in and out. If he tries to come in big, he will lose. If he tries to match Kovalev and come in at 190, he will lose.
Right.
If Canelo's smart, he's going to stay small.
Stay little. Yeah, stay small is exactly right. And the thing is, fight small also. If he's going to get inside, which he definitely needs to do because of the arm reach advantage, you get inside, you stay there, and you make yourself a very, very small target. But think about all that head movement and what it would take in order to avoid Kovalev's jab and his right hand the whole fight. With that added muscle, with the added weight, I think it's a tall proposition for Canelo, but I will say this. Other than Floyd and Erislandy Lara, I've always seen Canelo make a way. He is a good fighter, regardless of what I think about him. He's a good fighter. Good defense, good power, great variation to his punches, good speed, good everything. Plus, with help that he always gets. I can't see Kovalev winning this fight. Kovalev doesn't have the star power or the cachet. He needs a knockout to win.
He needs a knockout for a draw.
It's not going to happen. But if I'm just thinking about it stylistically, it's very, very interesting. Very interesting.
The fight will be interesting as long as Kovalev does exactly what he's supposed to do, is to use his feet to stay outside, use his feet on offense to keep the distance he likes, and use those long, accurate punches, right or left, and fight like that. If, like you said, if Canelo's got to move all night long and can't get in, and he's outside, he's trying to work his way in, maybe his salmon issues can pop back up. Maybe, and Kovalev can eventually wear him down and not, because Kovalev, he's not winning a decision, so let's just forget that. Unless Canelo can't do anything and he's just getting popped with a jab, which I don't see that either. He's going to have to hurt him. He's going to have to drop him at least. So he can win. It's going to be about discipline. And I'm telling you, if he couldn't stay disciplined enough to stick to some of the things he needed to do with Anthony Yarde, and Anthony Yarde's inexperienced at best, he's not going to be able to do it with Canelo.
I have a question.
And I don't give him much of a chance.
I have a question for you guys. Do you guys think that Canelo is going to stay with Oscar De La Hoya for much longer?
Corlin, go ahead, because I have a funny answer.
To be honest with you, absolutely not. And this is me trying to take my personal feelings away, right? But just listening to how Canelo's been talking, listen to what he's saying, saying loyalty means everything.
Let me read this
directly.
Let me read this to
Go
you.
Ahead. Go ahead. Let's get it.
This was with an interview with Mike.
Before you read it, I'm not sure, because I don't know if this is one of those Floyd got into a fight at a strip club 2 days before his fight just for free promotion. So I'm not sure.
Could be.
Yeah.
Because we've heard rumblings before, and Ryan Garcia before, and next thing you know, Ryan Garcia got a contract. And everything was fine and dandy. And now, there's been not a lot of buzz for this fight. Nothing. There's been nothing.
Let me read this.
All of a sudden, there's beef with Oscar, and Oscar had his, lawsuit or whatever. I don't know, but I don't know.
This is an interview with Mike Coppinger.
I'd say no. I think eventually, look, Oscar left Bob, Floyd left Bob, Manny left Bob. I think eventually he'll leave. I just don't know if it's now.
And this is what it says. This is when they were talking about his relationship with Oscar De La Hoya. He said, you can see that there's no loyalty in him. He changed trainers during his career. He changed managers in his career. So there's no loyalty. That's the way he is. And we see it now. And Oscar kind of threw some shade towards, I believe it was Ryan Garcia.
Eddie Reynoso.
Yeah, Eddie Reynoso, Ryan Garcia's trainer,
Mm-hmm.
and tweeted something to the fact of, bro, when you duck under, always keep an eye on your opponent. You tell your trainer that. And, Reynoso is one of the, people with Canelo. And, thinking of that, Reynoso is also he also has a fighter. They also have a fighter named Julio Cesar Martinez, who instead of signing with Oscar De La Hoya, went and signed with Eddie Hearn. And this was the comment that they said regarding that signing. They said, it's a pleasure to start this alliance with the best promoter in boxing. That's what Eddie Reynoso said. He said, we will work very hard and with great enthusiasm to launch Mexican talents to the big boxing leagues. So it sounds to me
that probably says a lot more than anything.
There's a shift there, and I think that maybe the days are counted where Oscar continues to be Canelo Alvarez's promoter.
Do we know if there's a contract between Oscar and Canelo and how long that is and when Canelo can get out? If so,
I don't know.
I think a lot of people hate Canelo a lot less as soon as Oscar De La Hoya is out of the picture.
Oscar, he's had some lifestyle issues. Also, it seems to be a trend with some boxers. He's had some personal issues, domestic issues. There have been some issues with his company, and this is something that we were going to talk about some time ago. There were an exchange of racist emails between some low-level reporter and one of his people in his organization that were never really addressed. and that should have been addressed. In my opinion, as a boxing fan, this is something you don't want to see. This is a sport that encompasses all kinds of different people from different different places, different nations, and it's something that should never happen in the sport. But apparently,
you guys are more schooled on that subject than me. I mean, I've read my little bit of share here and there.
I really don't think I'm in a position to read these emails out loud because I mean, these emails are just
it's a lot.
It's ridiculous, and
Okay.
I want to say personally, shame on Oscar for not addressing this. This is something that should have been addressed. They should have gotten rid of the people involved in this right away. Put out a statement. This is not what Golden Boy is about. This is not what we believe in. And I think it put a very black, dark mark on this organization, and it should have not happened. So shame on them for doing it, and maybe these are basically, this is karma that's happening to Oscar right now with all this stuff that's going on.
It's been a lot.
Let's make an official prediction for the fight for the weekend.
Well, I want to still talk about this because I still think that that it's something that it's just, it doesn't sit well with me knowing that they can go ahead and talk like this. I'm not the number one fan of Al Heyman. Everybody, you guys know that. I don't like Al Heyman for boxing reasons. Not because of any kind of racial issues. My favorite fighter right now is who? Omaha. Yep. Terrence Crawford. I grew up loving boxing, and boxing to me has no color. Boxing to me is a sport of people that really work hard to overcome a lot of obstacles to get to where they want to be. And I just, if it comes down to Canelo leaving, then great, because I think that Oscar is right now a negative in our sport. As much as I think that maybe Heyman is a negative in our sport, I think that Oscar is a bigger negative in our sport right now, in this sport right now. And I think that it's time for him to hang it up and get out of there. And
someone hang it up for him.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead, and I'm going to add this in there because Canelo brought up no loyalty. You see what I mean? And this is something that, I mean, those words really resonate to me. And it's saying if somebody's not loyal to you, right, just on a basic level, that really means that you can't trust them. You don't know when they're going to be around. You don't know their intentions. You don't know if they mean bad or good. You don't know if they're going to be there for the long haul. Now, all of this has been said because of what's transpired. Oscar had to go to rehab before Canelo's biggest fight of his life, still to this day, against Floyd Mayweather. Literally days before the Floyd Mayweather fight, Oscar goes to rehab. So he goes in there as a 22, 23-year-old kid against literally the best boxer of this generation. And he goes in there with no promoter, and Canelo at that time, I think he's more so increased his English, understanding, comprehension, communication levels. But I mean, that is his main mouthpiece and the face of the company in rehab against Floyd fucking Mayweather. All right. So that's not good. Now you have multiple DWIs. You got, pictures that are on the internet. This is your boss now. Your actual boss.
Fishnets.
And not only that, this is your boss that
you can't walk by the pencil drawer.
Well, let's put it like this. This isn't your boss, as in Al Heyman, who gives no interviews and doesn't talk, and you don't know where he is, and he's not out in public, and
But
he
there's
has
somebody.
Oscar's every
But there's
bit as
somebody
vocal,
representing Al
and
Heyman in the fights. There's
right. But
Watson.
the thing is,
Oscar's out there in front of the
see,
camera like Dana White, like for the UFC.
right. You see, like Oscar De La Hoya is not camera shy. Being out visibly drunk, high, bloodshot eyes at events, even introducing other fighters. I think they did the Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell 3 fight. This is an MMA fight, and this dude is stammering over words and doesn't know fighters' names. And it seems like also with the rehab, the drug, the alcohol issues, that the inhibitions are so low to where they just don't want to properly compete, promote. They don't care about garnering new fan interest, nothing at all. I don't think that they have any. They have Virgil Ortiz, but they don't have any highly touted prospects like that. Who I think Diego De La Hoya got punched up. I mean, it's no other real push for other fighters to be the next Canelo. Or they have Ryan Garcia, who was basically an internet sensation, so he sells himself. Now you have these allegations, these new allegations that come out with a woman named, Jane Doe.
Yeah, but remember, right before that, there was the guy that worked for him that was suing him.
Yeah,
this is like one on the heels of the other.
Tattoo.
Yeah.
And see, the thing is, though, what I'm saying, it's one after the other.
It's a progression of events.
Canelo, right? And it's getting progressively worse.
Yes.
This isn't something that can be brushed under the rug. Okay, a couple of situations, and it's fine. But this is a constant thing. Constantly, it's something. And Canelo is basically saying, I think the writing was on the wall way before, because they were beefing about something before. I think Canelo dropping the WBC belt or whatever because he was going to be forced to fight Triple G again or something like that.
Back in 2016.
Right. But think about this, though. Canelo is basically saying, I'm gone. I am gone. That's it. That's it.
I mean, he doesn't need him for his DAZN contract. It's already done. I know he's bitter about it because he thinks that, there was a lot of money that was necessarily left on the table. But, he got a nice chunk of money. He got $365 million.
Yeah. But
Oscar got a share, and Canelo's upset that why would he get that much of a share? He's not the one getting in the ring anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, he's unhappy.
Let me make this
comparison
with you guys. You can say a lot of things about Don King. A lot of things about Don King. A lot of bad things about Don King. But you can't say that Don King didn't do his job as a promoter to promote his fighters and his fights. He would come on there with his flags and his because
he knew he was stealing all the money back.
That's okay. But he came in there to promote the fighter and promote the fight. And if his fighters weren't paying attention, that's on them. And they should have done something about that.
Then maybe Canelo should have paid attention to what was in that contract, because there was the threat of Golovkin suing DAZN for breach of contract because he's not going to get the third Canelo fight, which in turn turns around and DAZN sues Canelo, and he's saying he didn't know anything about it. Well, you know what? When you have a contract of $350+ million, you better know what you're signing.
All the ins and outs of
every inch of it. And it seems like he didn't, and that's on Canelo.
Sure, but
he's a big boy. He knows.
And there's a trade-off too.
And his team, his manager, whoever, it's on his team.
You're a young guy. You're trying to get into the spotlight. You're trying to become, the cash cow and all that. And so, sure, you're going to go ahead and align yourself with somebody who has the means to get you there. And maybe at the time when Canelo signed contracts with Golden Boy and with Oscar, maybe that's what he needed at that moment. But it's gotten to the point where I think that the benefit to Canelo with Golden Boy has ended. I think that that maybe it's. I don't know how long he may have on a contract, Maybe he has to wait that contract out. Maybe Golden Boy is just going to be basically, getting whatever they get paid for doing nothing until that contract ends. And then
maybe he can buy himself out. Maybe.
And maybe he can buy himself out.
Maybe I should try to find it right now.
So, if it were a situation where Canelo can get out, I would surely see him trying to get out in the next year. If there's a way for him to get out, he's out in a year, or less.
Yeah. Well, this is, I think this whole relationship, just with all things considered, and like I said, with everything that's transpired, I think that it's beyond repair. And I don't understand. Oscar, this is literally 95% of his company walking around.
Yep.
Look, for all the things that I have to say about Eddie Hearn tries his damnedest with Anthony Joshua. He tries. He does whatever it is. He pays AJ. He makes sure that he's happy. For all I have to say about Eddie Hearn, AJ hasn't really complained about him.
Yeah.
Man, Canelo doesn't strike me as the guy who's always in the media and needs fan attention and all this. Usually the videos I see of Canelo, that's him in the gym training.
Now I don't buy it. Now I don't buy it.
Yeah. What?
What's that?
Say it. Is this new?
From September 11th, 2019.
Right.
Now I don't buy it. Now I don't buy it.
Today's October the 31st, man.
It's a month and a half later. All of a sudden, now he says, "There's no what." You said now you see it. What are you gonna do?
But
you just extended.
And the thing is,
a month ago you just extended.
The stuff that we're talking about right now is what we know. Let's think about what Canelo knows. Man, look, I think the ties are severed. I think it's over.
Well, it's kind of hard to say. It's kind of hard to say that.
Let me read you the statement. I am loyal. I am loyal. It's part of my character, and that's why I'm extending my contract with Golden Boy Promotions. Said Albert.
What are the details?
Golden Boy Promotions knows how to build a fighter and elevate him to a world stage, as they have done with me and continue to do with many others. I look forward to working with Golden Boy throughout my career. This is a month ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so if all that's true, then I hope he gets knocked the fuck out on Saturday.
Man.
And that's why I said, is this the Floyd got into a fight at a strip club moment so I can promote this fight? That's why I didn't buy it. I didn't know, and now I'm not buying it.
I'll say this: if this was another fighter, one who's more of a camera whore, one that more so craves attention, then I guess I would believe it. But no, Canelo seems me as he strikes me as a pretty honest dude. One that's not gonna necessarily try and garner buzz for the fight. Remember, like you always say, he's not selling pay-per-views, right? It doesn't matter. He gets paid the same guarantee at whatever time, and then that's it. So he doesn't need me to watch. He doesn't need anyone to subscribe to Dazn. And he's basically getting paid.
If the relationship is
I just read another article, and it says they don't give the details of the contract, but they said it's in line with his Dazn contract. Okay. His Dazn contract is 11 fights. That's at least 5 years worth. So,
well,
let's see.
The only thing is that
go Kovalev.
If that's the issue, then still, why not sign these fighters with Golden Boy instead of signing them with Hearn? So, something's going on in there, and maybe
maybe that particular fighter didn't want Oscar.
Maybe it's what you say. Maybe it's what you're saying that they're just playing it up.
Or maybe if Canelo's really unhappy, he can buy his way out of this. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe he can buy his way out of this.
Go boycott.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even have a choice. I'm not going to watch it.
oh yeah, you're not gonna watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch the fight on the Zone, and
I'm gonna turn my phone off. Oh, okay, I'll talk to you about that later.
and then
I'm gonna turn my phone off.
um, and then I still there's a lot of stuff going on with this guy with Oscar, and he needs to either get himself clean or get himself out of the business, because I don't see him being anything positive for the sport right now, and to me he needs to go. He really does. Predictions for this fight this weekend: we have Canelo versus Kovalev. I'm going to say Kovalev with a lucky shot. I'm just gonna say it. I think Kovalev can land something for real. I think that he
predicting
can.
Luck.
I'm gonna predict luck, because it happens in boxing, and I think that I think that he has enough skill left in him, and he's got enough advantage in size and power that he may be able to land something like that. Realistically, probably Canelo by decision, but I wouldn't mind putting a little bit of money on Kovalev on this fight.
I'm gonna
plus 325.
Yeah,
hey.
Yeah. This is a tough style matchup for Canelo. Thinking about it logically, right? I don't know how Canelo can really win this fight. All things considered, if Kovalev does what he's supposed to do, Canelo thrives off of mistakes, and he's more of a counter boxer / pot shotter. But at the same time, I don't all the way trust Kovalev. Kovalev has had too much stuff swirling about him. He has his own legal issues, and he's been known to hit the bottle of vodka and do this, that, and the other. Canelo's a good fighter, man. Plus, with the weight of whatever machine is behind him, I gotta take Canelo, and I'll take a split decision.
Wow.
Which
part of you is split? I'm kidding.
I don't know how you could bank on luck, because you have to think that if this whole Oscar Canelo beef is for real, then Oscar's going to do whatever he can do to keep Canelo. And if it were to be a close fight, he would make sure that Canelo doesn't lose. So there goes your luck out the window.
That's why I'm saying it would have to be a knockout. It wouldn't be any other way, and it would have to be a lucky punch.
I just think that
Kovalev still has enough left.
I don't think Canelo makes a lot of mistakes. That's number one. So I don't see a lucky punch. Number two, I don't see Kovalev sticking to the game plan like you, Corling. And it's funny because as much as me and Corling go at each other, we want to kill each other on Facebook. I almost always agree with him when it comes to fight night. And it's not a split decision. I think it'll be a clear 8 rounds to 4, but clear. And I think, that's going to be solely because Kovalev will eventually bail on the game plan, and Canelo will find his way inside. I don't think because of the weight that he'll be able to knock him out. Canelo's power has not moved up with him against good fighters. It's moved up against Rocky Fielding, and that's it. And that's not a good fighter. So, but I will take him with a clear 8-4 win, and a hard fight. Not going to be easy, but I think eventually Kovalev, he turns back into Kovalev. He lost the fight in the second half of the fight against Andre Ward once somebody figured out. He almost got knocked out in his last fight against Anthony Yard when Anthony Yard figured out, I should throw body shots. Canelo's a better body puncher than Andre Ward, and he's a better all-around fighter than Anthony Yard. If he doesn't have it figured out yet, he will in a couple of rounds, and he'll win the fight clear.
The only thing that we have to keep considering is that, yes, Kovalev has had these issues with other fighters, but they've been 180, 190-pound fighters. They've
also been not as good fighters as Canelo.
But they haven't been a middleweight, fighting him. So,
Okay.
let's just say this real quick, and I'm gonna throw this out there, and then I'm not gonna say anymore, right? Let's look at how Canelo looks, his stamina, his movement, with 15 to 18 more pounds of muscle on him. Just want to say that, and then that's it.
And with that, we're gonna go ahead and end.
I can't say anything. I'm not watching the fight anyway.
We're gonna end the podcast. Make sure you subscribe.
War wedding.
Make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you share this video. Subscribe. Let your friends know. You know, boxing talk all the time. So, see you soon.
And make sure you don't unsubscribe because you don't like one of us.
That's
Happy Halloween, people.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Take care. Peace.
Love you.